The scene begins in the late 1800s when the outlaw gang led by Blackjack arrives in the quiet town of Sweetwater. Cav, his right-hand man, is always by his side. As they settle in, Blackjack sees his nephew, Sonny, playing with the local children and quickly questions if the boy is what it takes to be an outlaw. He pulls the boy's ear and orders him to act appropriately. To prove his point, Blackjack orders his men to rob the town bank. Inside, he forces the terrified cashier to open the vault, and when the man hesitates, Blackjack doesn't think twice and shoots off one of his fingers. Outside, Sonny, trying to impress Dolly, a friendly prostitute, shows her one of his favorite books. But before he can get any autograph, the alarm sounds. Amid the chaos, Sonny sees Dolly get hit by a stray bullet and also finds a fellow gang member wounded. Without thinking twice, he helps both, showing that, despite everything, he still has a soft heart. After escaping the town, the gang stops to divide the loot. But in the distance, law enforcement appears on the horizon. With no time to rest, they move on, even with Badger, Blackjack's brother, severely injured. Sonny, concerned, suggests they stop, but Badger, stubborn as always, insists on continuing. Because who doesn't love a bloody endurance race in the middle of the Wild West, right? Eventually, the inevitable happens. Badger falls off his horse, exhausted and losing blood. With his last bit of strength, he asks someone to end his suffering. Sonny, who has never fired a gun before, is the one who must do the job. He hesitates but doesn't want his uncle to suffer anymore. The gunshot catches Cav's attention, who congratulates him rather insensitively. But danger is still near. Law enforcement begins shooting from a cliff, hitting Sonny in the leg. During the escape, the horse carrying the money is hit, and Cav wisely convinces Blackjack to leave the gold behind and save their skins. After a sandstorm, the group finds a small town in the middle of nowhere that looks like it came straight out of a dream. That's when the bazaar begins. The townspeople are so friendly it makes the gang suspicious. Sheriff Forrest offers hospitality, but something about his face isn't quite right. He looks a lot like Wild Bill Hickok, who supposedly died years ago. Curious, Sonny notices that the town is full of people who resemble famous figures from the Wild West, but they all seem to be living peaceful lives and, oddly enough, without guns. During a guessing game, Sonny notes that the town doctor looks like someone from his past, but before he can ask more, suspicions grow. Could the town be some kind of purgatory, where dead criminals have a second chance at redemption? The tension reaches its peak when Blackjack decides the best thing to do is sow chaos. Of course, why not destroy the only town that offered them shelter? But suddenly, something supernatural happens. Lightning strikes from the sky, hitting one of Blackjack's men. Sheriff Forrest, who proves to be more than just a lawman, blocks the thrown knives with an almost otherworldly calm. What intrigued me was the moment Sonny hesitates to kill his own uncle. Honestly, I don't know if I'd have the courage, but maybe I'd have tried to find another way, perhaps a pact to live peacefully in the town. After everyone left, the mysterious native guardian appeared and dragged the deceased's body to a dark gate outside town. That same night, Sonny saw Rose praying fervently. Naturally, he soon fell asleep but was awakened by the sound of a carriage. The townsfolk came out of the church to greet the new arrival, Dolly. Sonny was stunned because he was sure Dolly was dead and buried. The coachman handed a white rose to Forrest and said he could return home in a few days. Confused, Sonny tried to follow the carriage but got lost along the way. The next day, he went straight to Forrest and Dolly, insisting that Dolly had died in his arms in Sweetwater. Dolly, or rather API, as she now called herself, vehemently denied it. Frustrated, Sonny decided to confront Woods, calling him by the name of Doc Holliday, the famous gunslinger who died of tuberculosis in 1887. But Woods, very patiently, denied being Doc, saying anyone would be surprised by such an approach. Sonny began to wonder if the town was a refuge for famous outlaws who everyone thought were dead. He was convinced that Glenn was Billy the Kid, the legendary gunslinger supposedly killed in 1881. Woods then asked an intriguing question about Rose's true identity and left without an answer, leaving Sonny puzzled. Later, Sonny confronted Lamb, accusing him of being Lefty Slade, another infamous gunslinger thought to be dead. Lamb denied it, but clever Sonny quickly examined Lamb's left wrist and found a bullet scar. Lefty Slade then confessed his true identity, but before Sonny could ask more questions, chaos ensued. Two of Blackjack's men destroyed Slade's garden. Enraged, Lefty reacted and killed one of them. Overcome with remorse, he screamed and cried like a child while the townspeople gathered around him. Feeling defeated, Lefty walked to the Guardian and passed through the misty gate, leaving Sonny totally confused. Meanwhile, in town, Blackjack's men continued to cause trouble. Forrest, calling him by his real name, ordered Blackjack to leave. However, hot-headed as always, Blackjack tried to attack but strangely couldn't hit the sheriff. That's when Sonny stepped in, planning to thwart Blackjack and Kevin's plans. After a bit of spying, Sonny discovered they wanted to rob and kill anyone who stood in their way. Determined to protect Rose, he found her by the lake, and after noticing a mark on her neck similar to Lefty Slade's scar, he finally realized that Rose was actually Betty McCullough, the first woman hanged in Arizona for killing her abusive father with a kitchen knife. Rose explained that the town was a kind of purgatory for dead criminals seeking redemption. It was their last chance, and each one needed to resist the temptations of their past for 10 years to earn a place in heaven. One wrong choice and everything was lost. Although disappointed with the residents' reluctance to stand up to Blackjack, Sonny decided to fight alone to protect the town. The next morning, despite being weak, he prepared to face the outlaws. At the end of the fight, Blackjack challenged Forrest to a duel, but upon being defeated with a precise shot to the head, everyone realized they didn't want him in the town for another second. The Guardian arrived shortly after to take Blackjack and Kevin to an unpleasant end over a lava-filled cliff. Then, to everyone's surprise, a carriage appeared to take the legends of the Wild West to heaven, acknowledging their sacrifices. The coachman invited Sonny to join them, but he chose to stay with Rose. In a symbolic act, Forrest passed the sheriff's badge to Sonny before departing with his companions to eternity. And so, the heroes found eternal salvation, but Sonny and Rose were left behind, ready to face whatever came next. Sam Shepard's character, Wild Bill Hickok, is portrayed as someone seeking redemption for his past sins. I found it interesting how the film deals with the idea of redemption and the internal battle of the characters between good and evil. If I were in Sonny's place, I definitely would have thought twice before getting involved with all these people. After all, messing with legendary gunslingers and discovering the dark truth of a town full of dead criminals doesn't seem like a good idea. But, on the other hand, I also wouldn't have let Blackjack and his goons cause so much chaos without resistance. I hope you have a great day, and see you next time.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect.